I soloed the Bad Signal mission for Act 4 in MW3 Zombies, which includes the Gormgant Worm Boss Fight. And in this video I'm going to share with you some tips, tricks and strategies that I used that I'm hoping will help you to be able to do it for yourself. From completing this, you're going to unlock the So Many Teeth weapon charm, which you can use on any weapon that you want to. And after completing this, you're also going to get the Golden Locked Diary, which you can use to complete an Easter egg to permanently open up the Dark Ether, and once you go into there you can get yourself some high tier rewards. So let's jump straight into it. Obviously first you need to make sure that you have the mission equipped. You do not need to have done any of the previous Act missions in Zombies in order to be able to start this. You can head straight to the Act 4 in the menus, select the mission and you're good to go. Before jumping into a game, you want to make sure that you're using a solid weapon. For a primary weapon, a couple that have been working well for me are this build for the SVA 545 Assault Rifle, which I've been using a lot within the Dark Ether, and also this build for the MCW, which is what I use specifically for doing this mission solo. As a secondary weapon, you want to either run an RPG or the RGL grenade launcher, and I'll explain how either of these are going to be useful a bit later in the video. For equipment, you want to use decoy grenades for distracting zombies, a throwing knife which you can use to one-hit both zombies and dogs within the Dark Ether mission, and also the Ether Shroud field upgrade, which you can use to hide from zombies for a short time if you get yourself into a sticky situation. On the map, the mission exfil point is going to be marked with this icon and it's going to be labelled Bad Signal. It's just south of the Tier 3 zone. Before heading here and starting the mission, you obviously want to get yourself geared up and ready to go. Now in my opinion, you definitely want to get all of the perks that are available to get. You also want to definitely pack-a-punch your primary weapon to Tier 3, and ideally you want to have a legendary ether tool for your primary weapon as well. But if you only manage to get a rare or an epic tool, then this should do the trick. Now if you have the schematics available for you to use, then that's great, you can get a head start on getting geared up. But regardless, once you first jump into a match on Urzikstan, you're going to need to farm contracts for essence and other gear from the Rift rewards. I find the best missions to knock out quickly are either the escort contracts where you just need to quickly deliver the cargo to the delivery point, the spore control contracts where you just need to place down those Dark Ether looking trophy systems and then destroy the spores, and also the bounty contracts where you take out the HVTs. Obviously it's kind of dependent on how set up you are to begin with, but ideally you want to be doing these contracts in the Tier 2 zone, or if you're game enough, farm contracts in the Tier 3 zone, because this will give you more essence as a reward and you'll also get better rewards in the reward rifts. Once you've got enough cash, get your weapons pack-a-punch to Tier 3, grab all of your perks that you need from either the Wonder Fizz or other perk machines around the map, and also stock up on about 3 or 4 self-revives from the buy station, plus 3 or 4 sentry guns. If you have enough essence, you could get one less sentry gun and instead get a jug suit from the Tier 3 buy. When you feel like you're set up and ready to go, head to that mission exfil point and interact with it to start it up. As soon as the mission begins, your first objective is to break the seals at 4 different locations, and you want to try and get these done as fast as you possibly can to give yourself as much time as possible to fight the Gormgant boss. The one that you want to do first is from the left of where you spawn. You can head down the side of the gas station here to get there quickly, and if you do have that Juggernaut streak, then you can pull that out so you're holding the deployment grenade and you'll be able to run a lot faster. Once you're here, not just for this seal but for all of them pretty much, you can use a decoy grenade to distract the zombies while activating it to avoid getting swarmed while you're standing there in one place. After you activate it, you'll notice that a ring will spawn around the outside of the podium within this room, and what you need to do is kill zombies inside of it, which will fill it up with their souls and then break the seal. So try to avoid killing zombies that are outside of this circle, because you're basically just wasting your time. While you're doing this, zombies are going to be right up in your face, so you pretty much just want to be hip firing your weapon non-stop. And if you didn't already know this, you can actually plate up at the same time as you're hip firing, so you just want to be holding down your plate button while hip firing and strafing side to side, killing zombies and picking up more plates. Once you've broken the seal for this first location, you then want to head straight out of the building and make your way to the next one. The closest one is just down the road here in the first entrance part to the fortress. There's like a block of toilets and some car parks here. Again, if you need to use the decoy in order to distract the zombies, then do so, and just use this same strategy of hip firing and placing at the same time to kill all the zombies within the radius of the circle that it spawns. Remember as well, while you're doing this, if you do find that you're getting overwhelmed by zombies, you can pop your ether shroud, which will give you a moment to be able to reposition. Once you've broken the seal at this location, you can head right up the stairs that is directly behind it into the main entrance of the fortress itself, and directly in front of you you'll see the next seal location. Using the same tips, activate the podium, kill the zombies within the circle radius to then break the seal, and you'll then be on to the last location. So from here you can head out the back entrance where there's like some prison cells and stuff, and then you want to turn right and follow along the wall until you get to the zip line, which you can take up to the top of the fortress and then jump off to then parachute down to the final location. Once you've done that last one, you'll then be on to the boss fight. So once you get to that boss fight area along the beach here, you want to head to the small block of toilets and place down 2 of your sentry guns on the roof. These will sometimes shoot and deal damage to the worm, but for the most part these are going to take out the zombies that will spawn within the area. It obviously depends on how many of these sentry guns you want to bring in, but these first 2 sentry guns are just not going to last the entire boss fight. So what I've been doing is I've been placing 2 to begin with, and then as the boss fight progresses, I place down the others that I have. While shooting the worm itself, you want to be shooting it on the sides of its body, so you'll see some parts of them are glowing bright purple. These are his critical points, and shooting him here are going to deal the most damage to him. When you do run out of ammo from shooting him, there is a permanent ammo cache spawn just down here on the edge of the beach, so make use of this as you need more ammo and equipment. So one of the attacks that he does is he shoots a massive laser out of his mouth, and there are a couple of different things that you can do to counter this. So when you notice that he's starting to attack you, you can either shoot him in the mouth, and by doing this you can actually completely prevent him from doing that attack, and there's even another critical spot within his mouth that you can hit while you're shooting him. The other option is to sit behind the block of toilets where you've put those sentry guns, and when you see him start to do that attack, you can just hide behind the building, which will prevent you from getting hit, and you can then pop around the other side and continue to shoot him. Another thing that he can do, which is super annoying, is that he spits out these orb things which come and attack you, and they'll completely shred your armor as well as your health. Dealing with these seems to be a lot easier when you're solo, because as he shoots them, they don't split up to go for your teammates, they all head out in the same direction, and if you're onto it, you can follow them and shoot them all out as they head directly towards you, as you can see right here that I do on screen. Sometimes the worm will eat you, which is actually surprisingly easy to deal with. When this happens, you can actually still shoot him while you're inside of his mouth, and sometimes you can even hit that critical spot within his mouth that I mentioned earlier. But if you also spam the parachute button at the same time as you're doing this, when he spits you out, you can just glide to safety and avoid being downed. Another thing that you're going to have to deal with during this boss fight is every so often he'll just tunnel underground and he won't pop back up for what seems like forever. Now this is where the RPG or the RGL secondary that I mentioned comes into play, because what you can do is you can use either of these to create an explosion near him while he's tunneling underground, and if you hit it right, this will force him to come back up to keep the fight going. So hopefully using these tips and strategies will help you counter some of these attacks and annoying things that the boss does, but if for whatever reason it doesn't work out and you get downed, you'll still have a bunch of self-revives in the back pocket to get you back up. Getting those seals broken at the start to give you as much time as possible is going to be crucial, and just make sure that you're constantly shooting him in those critical spots as often as you can. I hope this video helps you out with getting this done solo, and if you have any tips or strategies yourself, feel free to share them with myself and others down in the comments below. Alright, I'll catch you in the next one. You look after yourself and take it easy.